My color was spring. The first day of spring, when that which has been resting in the darkness now is coming out to play in the sunlight. And today marks one of 2 days in the whole entire year where the balance of light and dark is the same. It only happens now, and at the fall equinox, again, we get the balance of light. And as we know, this whole time of year is all about rebirth. And for most people, that rebirth and that awakening that we see around us in nature inspires something in us. It wakes us up as well. We start to see the beauty. We start to smell in the air. Now, I know those of you who have allergies, you may not like that, but, you know, the smell in the air of flowers blooming, and there's a change that happens. Last night we got a little rain to help kind of wash things away for our first day of spring, and it just starts to smell different, the flowers. Do you see the flowers, or do you take them for granted? See them, right? Don't afraid, stop and smell the roses. It's like, look at the beautiful, look at the purple, look at this. If that's not the intelligence of the divine that shows up in the myriad of flowers, I don't know what is. I think, how did something create this beautiful orange flower, this little yellow right smack in the middle? You know, that to me is divine intelligence at work. So we want to notice the little flowers everywhere, coming through the cracks in the wall. Do you notice and listen to the birds singing? Oh my gosh, they're prolific in most people's yards. You hear them. Don't take those for granted, right? We want to let all those be little signs of spring and rebirth for us. And so we see it on earth, but spring also happens in our personal lives. We feel that as well. It's happening now for us. It can happen any time of year, really, in our personal lives, but we'll go with today. It's happening in our personal lives, and the growth process that we experience individually is not always an easy process. And so I've got this quote from Cynthia Ochelli, and she says, "For a seed to achieve its greatest expression, it must come completely undone. The shell cracks, its insides come out, and everything changes. To someone who doesn't understand growth, it would look like complete destruction." Now, when we think about a seed, we think, well, that's just what the seed does. We have vegetables in our backyard right at the moment that we planted little seeds. And the very first day you start to see little sprouts. It's like, oh, how exciting, the little tiny sprouts are coming up, and then they just keep going. But in order to even see that sprout underneath it, right, the seed literally had to crack open and its insides came out. Now, I say it like that because when it happens to you, how does it feel? When we come completely undone, when there's our shell cracks and our insides, our stuff all comes out and everything changes. It looks like complete destruction. Now, hopefully the seed, I don't think the seed is fighting it. Sometimes we fight it. We just that natural process that happens, that breaking open, we fight it, we restrict it, we resist it sometimes. You know, there's that, I didn't get the cartoon, but I'm sure you've all seen it. You see a pastor talking, and you see a bunch of people sitting in the audience, and you see the person says, "Who wants change?" And everybody's hands go up. Who wants change? And who wants to change? Right? I mean, that's the truth, right? We want change, but oh my gosh, I don't only want to have to go through the process of it myself. I just want all you to change. Or I want all life to change. Or I want to be different somehow. I want to be 20 pounds lighter, but I don't want to have to do anything about it. You know, it's that thing. We need to be willing to not resist the change if we do want the growth. The growth process demands change. And what happens, we've all had enough experiences in our lives, and we've had enough change, we've had enough, you know, letting all our insides spill out, to realize that when we finally get through this phase and we see the beautiful blooming that we are, so it was worth it, right? It was worth it. We've had enough experiences. That could be your homework for today. Go back and look at your life and think, when was life struggling? When was I feeling like I was in the dark? When was I resisting the cracking open? And how did it turn out? I mean, every person who's ever given birth, you know, you go through that process of, oh my goodness, Nobody told me it was going to hurt this much. And then when it's all over, what do you have? You have this beautiful bundle of joy. So there's so many experiences that we can all look back on and reflect on just a little bit that remind us that it's okay to cooperate with nature. It's okay to cooperate with what's happening. It's okay to say, you know what, this is a little hard right now and I'm struggling and I may not understand it all, but I believe that life is helping me blossom in some way that maybe I don't know of yet. Or maybe I don't see the whole picture yet. But I learn to trust the process. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, that is the daily practice of this philosophy, is learning to trust the process and not fight the process and to look for what the bigger picture is. Ernest Holmes always told us, look or do your prayer with the end in mind. So with flowers, whoops, not yet, sorry, wrong one. Sorry about that, Lamont, that was my bad. He says to do your prayer with the end in mind. So the end in mind is, the good you want to see. But if you're a flower, it's not the little sprout. The end in mind is these gorgeous flowers, right? So we can use that as our example as well. That where am I going? What do I want to see? And know that we will be even more awesome than we are now when that blossoming happens. Now, let's go to what Ernest Holmes said. First, he's quoting Jesus. Okay, so Ernest Holmes said, Jesus said, when you pray, believe that you have, and you shall receive. He did not say believe and you will immediately have. He said, ye shall receive. He did not deny the natural law of evolution and growth. Nature operates according to a law of logical sequence. This is a good reminder, no matter where we are on our spiritual path, that the whole notion of I'm going to do the prayer for what I want to see in my life doesn't mean it's going to be like a magic potion where you wiggle your nose and it pops in front of you instantly. He didn't say we shall immediately have. Ernest Holmes didn't say we shall immediately have it. There's this place that's called the process, that we are learning to believe that when we stay steadfast in that, once we've planted the seed, leave it alone, yeah? There's this natural sequence of evolution and growth that comes into being. It's true of our life. So if you've ever been discouraged, well, I did my prayer and I didn't see the result. Maybe the word is simply yet. Or maybe it looks a little different than you thought it would show up. And I'm going to say more about that in a minute. This time of year, we see so many stories, and we hear so many stories, and we see so much evidence of what was in the dark coming up to play. And so I can't go to this time of year without thinking about the story of Persephone. I'm looking at our resident goddess, teacher Joanne, Persephone. So Persephone and her mother, some people pronounce it Demeter, some people pronounce it Demeter. I'm used to saying Demeter, so I'll stick with that. So imagine, young, beautiful, young woman, Persephone and her mom, running through the fields of flowers and having a good time, carefree, and all of a sudden the earth cracks open. And Hades, who's the lord of the underworld, comes up and says, she's so beautiful, I want her for my wife. Basically kidnaps her. Story sounds really bad, but he treats her really well. Takes her to the underworld, she gets to be like the queen of the underworld, and she has a good life. But her mother, her mother is devastated because now her daughter is gone. Her mother, Demeter, is just on her knees and weeping and weeping and weeping. Well, Hecate, who's watching the whole thing, all comes into this too, because she's a protector. She wants to help make it better. I'm saying it in modern day language. So we get Zeus involved, we get Hecate involved, we get Demeter involved, and said, "Come on, let's make a compromise here." So makes a compromise, gets Hades up there. Everybody's compromising. Go figure. They come to a compromise. They come to a natural, logical sequence of evolution where Hades says, okay, let her live with me for 6 months and I'll send her back up on Earth for the next 6 months. So guess what happens on the first day of spring? Here comes Persephone. This beautiful young maiden gets to come back up on the top of the earth in the flowers with her mother Demeter. And for 6 months, they're happy and they're dancing in the flowers. And then, When we get to fall, then she's got to go back. You know, you hear the story of the darkness and then coming back to life. You hear what looked like it was maybe dead or you couldn't see it or rested in the darkness comes back to life. Sounds like all kinds of stories we hear this time of year, yeah? But I always just imagine, every time I see the flowers bloom, I imagine that that's Persephone coming back up to the top of the earth, blooming her little face and all the flowers. That's how I imagine it. I'm a word picture person. I like to put the images in my mind. So let's tie this together. So the images of spring, the images of planting seeds, the images of darkness and growth happening in the darkness that we can't necessarily see. Let's tie that together with what we know about doing prayer and looking for the manifestation. Because that's a big part of what we teach. Do your prayers, release it into the law as if you've planted a seed, and wait for the manifestation. So we are seeing the blossoms in our own personal experience right now. Seeds that we have planted in prayer, anytime really, but you know, we're going to use this whole spring thing. Seeds that we have planted that are now beginning to surface in our life. We get to look at those and we get to say, am I really thrilled with the blossoms coming up in my life? Or do I need to maybe dig that seed up, that prayer seed, and plant a different one because I don't really like what's showing up? It's part of our prayer practice. What is manifesting in my life? Not good, not bad, not angry, not fighting, just notice it. I wonder if I planted a prayer seed for this, and I don't want that one anymore. Okay, great. Or, woohoo, look, I planted that prayer seed 10 years ago, however long ago, and look at it now. Right? So, one way or the other, we celebrate it or we change it. We celebrate it or we change it. This is happening individually, it's also happening collectively. Now, I know all of you pretty well, and I talk to all of you a lot. And I know that when it comes to the collective, a lot of us look at the world and say, why? Why are things happening the way they're happening in our world, in our planet? Why? Collectively, there's bazillions of seeds being planted all the time. Some we would change, we would dig up the seeds and plant something different. Some we have planted, and they are coming into fruition now. And maybe they don't look like we thought it would look yet. This is where the process comes into play. And whew, I don't know about you, but trusting the process sometimes is not an easy thing. It's tricky to look around in my personal life or the rest of life and go, did I plant these seeds? And why is this not happening the way I thought it would look? The example I'm going to use is peace on earth. How many of us in this room pray all the time for peace on earth? I do want to see a show of hands. There should probably not be any hand down, right? We're praying for peace on earth. And then we go, and then there's another war. And then what about that crap that's happening there? You know, we see things that don't look peaceful. We don't see things that fit what we envisioned in that prayer. This is when we get to stop and say, is the bigger vision actually coming to be slower than I wanted it to be? But is there a bigger vision that's actually coming into manifestation that we don't see yet? Here, here. Here, here. It's like on one hand, it's awesome to plant the seeds and think, oh, we're going to see this great thing. And then it gets really disheartening when it seems to be painfully slow. But I said earlier, we learn to trust the process. You keep praying for peace. Please don't give up. Please don't think, oh, well, this isn't working and I'm going to stop. Keep going. Because so many things that are changing collectively on our planet right now that are beginning to manifest because of our prayers, they are coming. More equality on our planet, more energy of women taking the lead, more peace is happening. Sometimes you just got to look a little closer and a little deeper to find it. And I say There's more going on than meets the eye. You've heard me say that. There's more going on than meets my eye. It may not be happening according to my exact plan, but can I look for evidence of the good happening? It's like, did I hear the birds sing this morning? I have to notice. Did I see the flowers on my path? I must look. Did I see a peaceful interaction between those two people? I gotta look for it. And what happens when you look for it?
It shows up.
You find it. You get what you're looking for. So keep doing the prayers. Keep trusting the process. Keep knowing that the blossoms are happening all around us in our collective life. Most especially, we'll look for it in your personal life. Because all hell can be breaking loose around us, and our personal life might be filled with joy. Celebrate that joy. That's your prayers and your manifestation. That's wonderful. We're having a new dawn all around us. So today, let's celebrate the newness of spring. Let's breathe it in. Let's look for all the beauty. Today, let's celebrate and enjoy the flowering. Today, let's trust the process at a deeper level. Today, let's just really let ourselves be amazed by the wonder of spring. So let's close our eyes and let's pray for that right there. Remembering that there is only one source. Whatever name we like to give that one source, its energy, its intelligence is palpable, it is noticeable, it is evident. That one energy living and moving and having its being as every flower and every bird, as the soil itself, as the sunlight, as you and me. That one intelligence, not separate from anything or anyone. And so we breathe and we remember, yes, this is me. Spirit is living by means of me. With this knowledge, I may now plant beautiful seeds. And so I claim for us that we plant the seeds that we would like to see blossom in our personal life. We plant the seeds of family and friends and love. We plant the seeds of abundance and resources galore. We plant the seeds of gratitude and joy. We plant the seeds for peace on earth. We plant the seeds for equality amongst humans. We plant all these seeds. And something in us knows that there's a power greater than we are that knows how to grow them. And so I claim this for us, knowing that we do indeed trust the process. We trust it today. I know that when we look out at the world today and we see the flowers, it reminds us, it's the evidence that this is the truth. That blossoms happen, and this is nature, and it's good, and it's our life. And so I am grateful. I'm grateful for the wonder of spring. I'm grateful for the flowers. I'm grateful for the birdies. I'm grateful for our blossoming. I'm grateful for everything happening now and that which is to come. And so with gratitude, I release this prayer as simply another seed planted in the soil. Mother Nature knows exactly what to do with it, and so I let go and I let God. And join me in saying,
And so it is.